On the internet, if you remember 50 years ago, there was no internet. There was the Encyclopedia Britannica. The Encyclopedia Britannica didn't know anything at all about Staten Island. But here's what I found out. In 50 years, the population of Staten Island doubled. So since we graduated from high school, there are twice as many people on Staten Island as there were in 1968. And 1968 now has been proven by history to be one of the, if not the, most tumultuous years in the 20th century. We didn't know that then, but boy do we know it now. And I mean, to prove the point, in 1968, when we graduated, Detroit was still known as Motown. It wasn't known as a place for political escapades and people's, protests and things of that. And less than a year after we graduated, when you think about it, a man walked on the moon. We had no idea that that could happen. And a little folky town in upstate New York became very famous for music festivals. And that was only a year after we graduated. But I think the thing that I remember most about 1968 that I wish my grandchildren could learn is that we used to actually use a telephone that was attached to the wall. And in order to make that thing work, you had to put your finger in a hole and turn a dial in a rotary phone in a clockwise connection, but you only had to turn it 7 times. It wasn't 10 times, it wasn't 11. You only had to turn the phone 7 times. So things have certainly changed since June 26, 1968, when we all marched across the stage of the St. George Theater. The one thing that is, yeah, go ahead, who wanted to applaud the theater? I think you should. Because what's happened is, that's one of the few things on Staten Island that hasn't changed. The St. George Theater is alive, it's well, and it's producing shows every week. And I'll share with you my sad memories. I don't know about any of the rest of you, but I miss Pal Joey's. I miss the original King's Arms. The fancy diner just doesn't do it for me, And I miss Chick's Lounge on Castleton Avenue because I was able to reach the bar at 15, and that got me in. So it is just a joy to be here tonight. And for those of you who can't read my name, it's Wayne Miller, and I was in the 68 class. But I'm going to come back next year because they skipped us in junior high school. So I feel I got 1 foot in 69 and 1 foot in 68. So, and of course, Larry, if Larry Leedy had been born, 6 hours sooner, he'd be in this class. But his mom decided he would be in the class of 69. So we're looking forward to next year's party. I was fortunate enough to be a member of the committee of this event, and I'd like to call upon the chairman of that committee. For those of you who remember the treasurer of the class of 1968, Brock Austin, all the way from Minnesota.